Hi, it's Rose or Mama Rose. I'm having to do a take two. So whether I always end up with like three videos that go with one, but I forgot to do a couple of things. So I already went ahead and I got my bones out of my bone. See all my bones right here that I got out of my pressure cooker. And I took the marrow out of the middle of them all. See? So what I'm going to do is put those in my blender with some of the broth and blend them up. So what I'm going to do is just put them right in here right now, because my broth is going to go in here. And then I'm going to recook my bones because there's still lots of goodness inside those bones that I need to get to. And I'm just going to go a bunch more. I just didn't want, the water that I use is distilled water. And as I mentioned before, distilled water is hungry water. So that means that it can take more of whatever I'm putting in it. If I'm making tea or doing bone broth or whatever, I'll have more room in the water to take the nutrients out of whatever it is that I'm trying to do here, whether it's tea again or whether it's a broth or soup. Okay, so this is one right here. It doesn't look like much, but boy, those bones have been cooking in there forever. And I have bone in here. Let's see. Well, there's marrow left in there, but I'm going to leave it in there, so no big deal. And I do have some bone broth left in here, and I think I'm just going to leave it because I already have this. And I'm going to, you know what I'll do? I'm going to go ahead and put it in here anyway. Normally I'll strain it. I'll strain this. Always strain it. A lot of times I'll cook it with a bunch of vegetables for hours and hours, but I'm not doing that this time. I'm just cooking. I'm going to put the bones back in. And I ended up with a bunch of the fat in there too. It won't matter. Just give it flavor. Whew. Mark, you here? I gotta get water and I don't want to pause it. Do I have to start all over again? No. Oh, look. I have water here. We just got done charging and everything. It's nice distilled water. And we charge it with our eye water, which is another story altogether. There we go. Okay, so now we got this filled. I'm gonna go ahead and put some seasonings in it. This is all my fat that I got from it, and I'm gonna go ahead and put this in a jar or something. What I might do is melt it down and get all these meat particles out of it and then strain it. And then I'll put it in a container. And then if I'm going to cook something that I need fat for, you know, this is a really good fat to use. And I can cook with it and use this fat. This is really good. If you go to buy this kind of stuff in the store, beef tallow, that's what this is. It's a lot of money, especially organic. These bones are grass-fed. I did get them in California. When I'm there, I go to Clark's Nutrition, and they have bones. They have all kinds of bones. When I go to Sprouts, at least near me, they used to have a bones that were grass fed, and organic and all that, and they don't have it anymore. They have another one, but if I'm gonna try to get all the stuff out of the bones and use all the fat from it, I don't want all those chemicals in it, so I don't buy those bones. So whenever you can, that's why I'm doing them twice. I'm getting the most out of them that I can. And so what I wanted to show you today is I do have, like I said, these, I'm going to set these aside till this is all cooked again, another maybe 5 hours. Then I'll combine the two. I'll blend this up so that you won't even be able to see these. In fact, this will be like a milky color, not milky, but it'll be an opaque. You won't be able to, can't see through it now, I guess. But it'll be really Oh, well, it kind of looks milky. It's not white, but it's a really nice. It looks like a creamed soup actually. It doesn't look clear like this anymore. And then I'll add all my vegetables to it, and I'll cook it for 5 more minutes in this. And then I'll probably do a little part two to the bone broth so you can see the finished product. And then I do strain some of the broth off. And then I use that, and we'll drink a cup of that in the morning. And then we'll use this for dinner or something, for soup. And it doesn't have any meat in it. It's just got the bones from the bone broth. I was thinking of making stew. I have some grass-fed stew meat, and I'm going to do something with that. And I might use the broth for some of that and make a nice gravy with some arrowroot to put over it. And if you ever want to thicken something like that, you know, flaxseed, if you grind the flaxseed and put it in, it thickens stuff. So like when I do chicken soup and stuff, I'll do that. I'll put a little flaxseed in there. Or you can do chia seed. Grind it up, put it in there, and that'll help thicken it up a little. The flaxseed, I just heard though that if it's over 225 degrees, that it kills stuff that's in it and it's not so good anymore. So maybe, you know, I mean, my soup is normally you don't eat soup that hot. I mean, if you had soup at 225 degrees, it'd be really hot. So if you do put the flaxseed in it, make sure that you're doing it later, not when you're cooking the soup, because you don't want it real hot, you know, if you're going to use the flaxseed. Okay, so our milk is got our, I went ahead while I was doing the video that I stopped, and I put a quarter of a cup of fresh squeezed lemon juice into milk that I had brought to 175 degrees. And I poured it in and I stirred it up, and you could see, oh, looks like it's done. Let's go over and see what it looks like. I poured it in, and right away the ricotta cheese started to form. Now you can do this with vinegar, but I don't like it with vinegar. It just doesn't have a good flavor with vinegar. Oh, that look at that oopsie daisy. Look at that beautiful ricotta cheese. Isn't that nice? So let's go ahead and get a, let's get a dish. You get to see my kitchen. You get little glimpses of my disorganized kitchen. Yesterday I had like the natural look. If I just let my hair go naturally, it just goes like I got a perm. And I dyed my hair this morning. I was going natural, but I dyed my hair this morning, and I decided to use the flat iron on it, so I'm a whole new different looking person this year. So, I mean today rather. So I told my husband I wanted to make it look like he robbed the cradle. So look at, here we are back to the ricotta cheese. And I'm hoping this is really creamy. But you know, this is with my raw milk, so it's so good for you. If you gotta eat, if you're gonna have milk or dairy products, let them be cultured or raw. So the cultured, now this is not raw anymore, but I did make it with the raw milk, and there's a lot more benefit. Now, as you can see, I think you can see, this is still a little, I'm getting some more of that out of there. I don't want all that. Okay. This looks like it's still got some ricotta cheese happening in it. So I'm just going to go ahead and set you right here for a minute. And I'm going to go get some more lemon. And I have some in a jar, which is nice, because if it turns out that you need more lemon, you don't have to bother to squeeze it. So let me see what the temperature is, because we do need it to be at 175. Now I used to do this at 190. I can't see a thing though without the glasses. Why do I take them off and set them down? But I used to do it at 190 and then add the lemon juice, and it's a really, when you do that, it's not as soft a curd on the ricotta cheese. So if you want something more like cottage cheese, which I have, then you can do it at the higher temperatures. Here it is. See, and this has been a few days, but it's really dry. So good. At this point here, I put this away. It's so good. You can make so many things with that too. At this point here, I would salt it, and I'm going to take some more of the whey out. Oh, there. Put the salt in. We'll go back over there, but what I want to do is get this back up to temperature. And I can't see a thing without my glasses. I'm sorry. Oh, here they are. Here we go. It's close. Close. We got to get it back up to 175. When we do, I'm going to add some more. If it doesn't continue to make the ricotta cheese, I'm going to go ahead and add some more lemon juice in it. But for now, while that's getting to 175, we're going to go back over here, and I am going to add the salt to this. So when it's nice and warm like this, it's a good time to add the salt. And again, I'm like a broken record. I use the Celtic salt. That's good enough. And we're going to stir it up. Now, I'm not sure what kind of a yield that I got with this. It's interesting, too, when you use a raw milk as opposed to a pasteurized, homogenized milk. There's things that are in the milk that are lost when they're homogenized and pasteurized, and they are in this milk. I only brought it to 175. That's not high enough to do really a great deal of damage to it. That's good. Oh, that's so good. Oh, if you've never made your own ricotta cheese. Now, at this point, you could put some, if you want it really super creamy, if you have a raw cream, or let me see what I have. Oh, here we go. Oh, boy. Organic heavy whipping cream. So you can put some of that in there. Oh, that's nice. A little more. Doesn't hurt. And mix that in. If you want to, if you're going to eat this like raw, you could culture the milk, which I do. I got a bunch of it in the refrigerator that I cultured of heavy whipping cream, and I whip it, and we use it for dessert. I sweeten it, and then we have cultured cream, and it's so good for you. And another thing that's nice is when you culture something, the culture, in this case I'm using kefir grains, it's eating the lactose and it's eating the caseins that are in the milk. So it not only lowers the calorie and all those counts, it doesn't lower the carbohydrate count, but it will lower the the calories, the sugars. It does lower the carbohydrate count. I think about it, because it's lowering the sugars, if the sugars are the things that have the carbohydrates in it. So there we go. It is, oh boy, it is looking really, really, and I always throw things around. What is up with me? When this sets for a little while, we love this warm. When you first get this out of the pot, it's just beautiful. I think they call this heavenly regatta in some cases. That was so good. All right. All right. We got this. Can you see me? We got this back to 175. I'm not going to bring you. I think I will bring you over. Because the last time I did it, it was another video. So I'm not even going to measure. I'm just going to pour some in. Pour some in. Stir it around a little. This whey should be a little clearer. That's why I'm doing this, to see if I can't get the last little bit out of this, because I know there's more cheese in there. There. I think I was done. It was done. It didn't need the little... Oh, sorry, I keep doing... This is not easy to do, this filming. Look at that. So, you know what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shut the burner off, put the cover back on, just for a couple minutes, and go back over here. All right, one more thing we're going to do. I'm so sorry. Maybe I cut that stuff out. Okay. I was making crackers. Here we go. Yesterday, I did the flaxseed crackers here. See all the crackers? Good crackers. But I have one more batch to do. I just wanted to kind of throw that in here just to show you for the morning what we did. So we did the bone broth. We're doing a second batch of bone broth. And, oh, okay. Here it is. Did a second batch of bone broth with the same bones. And we made some regatta cheese. And we're doing another batch of crackers. These will just go right in the oven. And they'll just kind of be hanging around the oven all day long at like 175. I got the oven at 205, so I'm going to be home for a while, so I'm going to do it at 205 and just keep an eye on it. Yesterday I did it at 170, and it was time to go to bed, and I think I started at like 11 o'clock in the morning baking it. And when it was time to go to bed at like 11 o'clock, there was still a little moisture in the chips, and so I thought, well, I'll just turn the oven on to 350. And I will, then I'll shut it right off. You know, turn it on, get it up to temperature, turn it off, let it sit in there all night long, and then they'll finish cooking. So I go to bed, I do that, and it's 11:30. I get into bed. It's a little late for me, but I get into bed, and at 12 o'clock, I wake up smelling something cooking. So, of course, I bolt out of bed and realize, oh, no, I left the chips in the oven, which were almost done, at 350. Well, two bad things happened. They burnt, which, you know, we don't mind eating them burnt. But I found out this last week that flax seeds that are heated over 225 degrees aren't really good anymore. So I'm not sure why, but, you know, they lose something. They're not as good for you. So they're not poisonous or anything, so you're not going to drop dead if you eat them. But I'm hoping that the cracker, we're going to eat them anyway. There's too much work and expense involved here for me to throw them away, but they're good. Anyways, there we go. And what I'm doing now is I'm making another batch of I had the batter in the refrigerator, and I did post that video. I'm pretty sure it'll be posted that I did the flaxseed. And so when I know I'm going to make them, I fill the jar with 2 cups of flax seeds, and I cover it, and I put some chia seeds in there, and then I fill the jar with water. And you want to have as much water as you can get in there. It's good. You can always pour it off if you need to. And then I shake that, put the lid on it, and I shake that jar up, and I set that jar somewhere in a dark place. Flaxseed does not like light. It likes the dark. So once you crack open that seed, which we did, we blended it and all that, then you want to put it in the dark. So I let it in the dark for overnight or whenever, and then I took it out and I made this batter with it. And I added a little bit to it. I added some seasonings to it. And then I also, you can see in here, I also sprouted sunflower seeds and pumpkin seeds and some sesame seeds, although you can't see this. Yeah, I can see them. But the sesame seeds are sprouted as well, and sesame seeds are so good. If you don't know about those, go online and look up sesame seeds. They're so, so good. And then I mix those in there so you can see the texture. And then I'm going to bake them in the oven at 205 degrees, which is still good. You could do these on a food dehydrator, and you could make them raw. Do it at 110 and make them raw. Or leave them at 165, whatever your temperature is, and let them go. That way, you know, it's nice. You can go do something, and you don't have to worry about them burning like in the oven. But if I'm going to go somewhere, let me put this in the oven and get these going. Check the regatta. If I'm going to go somewhere, then I put it down to 170, and it'll go all day. Like I said, it was 11 o'clock last night, and the crackers still weren't done. So, and I had already taken them out. So at 2:05, in another maybe hour, I'm going to check on them, and if they're good to go, I don't think they will be, but I'm just going to keep checking on them. If they get to a certain point, I'd like to try to see if I can peel the silk pad off the back if I can, and it's kind of like a leathery big sheet of leather, then I can go ahead and cut it up. Now, last night when I did it, I ended up using a pizza cutter, not with the silk pad. I did that once, and I had the silk pad all cut up, but not on the silk pad. You take that off, put it back on your cookie sheet, and use your pizza cutter, and you can go ahead and make your shapes that way. And that worked really good last night. So otherwise, I was taking it with scissors and cutting it. So I think we're good. We went ahead and we made the bone broth like this. We got the new bones, the old bones actually in the pressure cooker. One thing I was mentioning is I heard with the Instapot, if you're going to get a pressure cooker and you don't have one, I'd recommend at least the 8-quart Instapot. I think they have a 6, an 8, and a 10. 10 is great. 10 is great, but at least get an 8, which is what this is. And then what's nice about them is you can do multi-hours on them. Mine, you can only go up to 100 minutes. But on the Instapot, I believe you can go more than 1 hour. These usually only go up to 1 hour. My other only goes 1 hour. It's a 10-quart pressure cooker. This one will go up to 100 minutes. And then I have to keep going back and doing another 100 minutes and then 100 minutes and to get up to 5 hours. But otherwise, the only other way to do it is to get I think a New Wave induction plate. If you have one of those, they can go many hours. The other induction plates that I bought, like a Paula Deen, they only go 6 hours, so that's not going to do me any good. So, but if you do have a New Wave induction plate, you can make this in a pot. An ironclad bottom pot, whatever works with the induction, and set it for 72 hours. That is the ultimate time to get a good bone broth, is 72 hours. So most people will tell you 24, 48, but 72, that's 3 days. And I have done it with the New Wave. I just set it at 72, and then, I leave it, and I don't even think about it. However, it smells your house up for 3 days, which you might not want the bone broth doing for 3 days. Then you could set it outside. But I ended up doing it with the pressure cooker. I thought, I'm just going to use the pressure cooker. And it works really good. And then when I'm all done and I have my broth, and if I want to make soup with it, I just throw it all back in there, season it all up, put my vegetables in, do it for 5 minutes is all you need, maybe 3 minutes. If you don't, want your vegetables to be tender but not mushy, little bite left in them, do them for 3 minutes, and then you got your soup and your bone broth, so you're all good, because you don't want to cook your vegetables. They're not going to be edible if you cook your vegetables for 5 hours. I have done that, and then I just strain everything out, strain it all out, and it is a big job. So if you don't mind doing that, and then you go ahead and put more vegetables in that you're going to eat. So again, we did the bone broth, we did the ricotta cheese. I've got the crackers in the oven. And so, believe it or not, now it's time to get on with my day. So, anyway, you have a great weekend. Have a great rest of the day, and I'll see you next time.